Yeah. Right. Yeah. Look, it's time to eat, get behind the beast. Done visualize this game all throughout my sleep. As long as I'm awake, I'm gon' grind and feast. Like a bear, like a wolf, tell him grab a seat. It's hunting season. 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 It's hunting season.
But everybody else, they can get this motherfucker. Excuse my language. All right, podcast, hunting season. This shit, bro.
All right, let me just making sure. All right, man. So welcome to another episode of the Hunting Season Podcast with me, the Bear, and that guy over there. Say what up to him, Wolf.
What up, dog?
And we got a woman of many talents down at the bottom. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Goddess.
Peace and love, family. I am Miranda Manie, also known as Goddess Anahata.
Thank you for joining us tonight. What we typically like to do when we get a guest on is we ask them where they're from, so we get kind of an idea of where their perspective is from. So tell the people where you're from.
I'm from New York. Okay.
Okay. Right
I'm from
there,
New York.
as y'all know, I'm from Jersey. And
Hey.
so that's a whole vibe. So we got that thing going on. So we gonna jump right in, man. So you're an author, a teacher. You got a whole course going on. Looks like you're in investing now, and we can't forget you're the Alkaline Water plug, right? So
Yes, I am.
boom,
Whoa.
right there for you. See how fast I pulled out Lashandra's essentials? Bang! See that? That's how she pulled out that water. We ready, man. That's what we doing out here. We stay ready so we don't got to get ready. You hear
And she
me?
got about a gallon.
Boom. And the book right there. Look at that segue. This is way too easy, man. Go ahead and tell the people about the book.
Okay, so the name of the book is Wake Up Call. You guys don't mind this. This is my author copy. So this is the cover. This is the back. It is 5 gems to unlock your purpose, power. A little background about it. So I would say at the end of March 2020, right before I call it the pandemic hit. And I'm sticking to it. Right before the pandemic hit, I went down south. It was supposed to be a 4-week mental hiatus from everything that was happening over here with the world, with family, relationships. I just needed to get away. Everything just everybody lost their mind. Okay. And I was like, nope, I gotta go. And so I was only supposed to be down south for 4 weeks, and I ended up there for 4 months. And during this time, a lot of healing took place, a lot of self-realizations. I actually ended up extending my time because I was not ready to come back to New York in all the chaos. I felt like I had a lot more healing to do. I had to dive a lot deeper. And when I did extend it, because I was there for like a month, and then I was supposed to come back to New York, but the healing that I was feeling taking place was just so important to me that I said, you know what, I'm just going to extend. I didn't know at the time, I thought I was just going to move there, but it did end up being just for another 3 months. And it was in the 3rd month that I actually started the book. I had gotten a whole job and everything. And in the middle of that job, I realized that if I didn't really take a stand for myself, then I was going to be trapped in what they call the rat race of life. And in 20 years, I was going to blink and I would be the coworkers that were retired but had to come back to work that, I was dealing with every day. So I decided to go ahead and write the book. The book actually was previously just a slogan that I had on my Instagram. I was going to put it on a t-shirt because I thought it was cool. The actual 5 gems. I was going to put it on a t-shirt. I thought it was so cool. And a friend of mine, they were like, no, that sounds like a book. Now, that's not the first time that I was told that, hey, you should write a book. But, I've always been the type of person, or I would say previously, I was the type of person who felt like things needed to be perfectly aligned for me to put it on paper. I needed to have all the answers. I needed to know all the things. I needed to have perfected what I was going to write about before I wrote about it. And it was not perfected whatsoever. It started out as a slogan that I thought was going to be a t-shirt, and it turned into a book. I wrote everything out, and I realized that I had a whole skeleton. And I kid you not, I had no idea that we would be sitting here right now with this physical copy. When I started writing, I just kind of like did gem number 1. Self-awareness is key. I would write whatever. I would sit in front of the computer sometimes like hours at a time, just looking at a blank screen, and whatever came to me, I put it on paper. And then that's literally how the book was written. And when I got to the end, I guarantee you, I had no clue if what I wrote was gonna even come together. So I always like to tell people, you know, when they ask me like, how was the writing process? How did you do it? I said, well, my highest self spirit wrote this book. Miranda was just the vessel that they used, but you know, spirit did write this book.
Okay. Well, that was a super dope answer. Wolf, you got a question?
Where do I start? Yes.
Go ahead,
All right.
brother.
First and foremost, really appreciate you for pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we get to get with you, whether it's the After Dark or in the Telegram or anywhere, you always overflowing with super positive energy. We appreciate you even blessing our platform with that. And I got my live on right now because we're doing a behind the scenes for the hunting season podcast, and family is showing major love. Just the fact that you're on my screen, so
Real
I wanted
talk.
to make sure we put that out there.
Thank you.
No doubt, no
I'm
doubt.
so excited. I'm more than excited. I feel so honored to be here. When Quan was like, "Hey, you know, you trying to come pull up and record?" I was like, "What? Yes, of course. Say less." So I even told my brother, you know, the one y'all talked to on the Zoom call the other day. I'm actually wearing his stuff right now.
Shout out to
But
little
I was
bro.
just like, yo, bro, can I borrow? I need some merch. I'm about to pull up in Black owned everything. You know? So I'm
That's how
super
we doing
honored
it.
to be here. I'm super honored to be here.
It looked like Wolf got a whole lot going on that live. So what they talking about?
Well, I'm just giving them an opportunity right quick. If they got anything that they want to ask, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
Okay.
gonna give them seconds to see if there's any question that they got. Meanwhile, I'm gonna shoot mine at you. Again, thank you. And to my question, what advice would you give? I know you got the gems in the book. But what advice would you give our young females that are headed in that direction where you found yourself and you made that super dope observation that this is not it? What would you tell our young sisters that's headed that direction?
That's a great question. I would definitely say take some time for yourself. I know that, you know, everybody's situation looks different. I was able to, and again, I had assistance at the time, because I would like to put out there that before I, you know, did the book or became a distributor and started, you know, these 2 separate businesses, I was not employed. I had walked away from my job in 2019. It was no longer serving me, and I had been unemployed. I was, you know, looking for stuff, and I had found something right before the pandemic hit. And then it hit, and there went the job. So I know that not everybody is able to just pack up and just dip out, but I do want to emphasize the importance of changing your environment, even if it's a couple minutes a day, to sit with yourself and to just try to tune into yourself and to separate yourself from that negativity, that toxicity, and all of those things. But what I also do want to emphasize is that please bear in mind that as important as it is to change your environment or get a change of scenery so that you can get a new perspective, right? Because sometimes when we're so close to a problem, it's hard for us to see the bigger picture. We can't see the whole thing because we're so close in it. We're so deep in it. We're so stuck in it, whether it be in our emotions or whatever else is happening around us. I also want to remind you that we, as in you, are the only energetic source in your life. So you are literally the common denominator between all the factors, all the issues, all the obstacles that is going on around you. So for me, for a long time, it was very easy to be like, oh, because I'm here, because I'm with this person, because I'm surrounded by these people, it's hard for me to really thrive or move forward. And while environment and people and toxic behaviors and things of that nature do hold a lot of weight, we are so quick to judge our environment and everyone else before we take a look within to say, hey, I'm actually responsible for all of this. I'm allowing these behaviors. I am allowing these people to treat me this way. I am allowing these people to get under my skin. I'm allowing these people to have a hold over my emotions. I'm allowing them to have some type of control over me. So you really do, I would say, dig deep into self and just know that the life that you have, wherever you're at, no matter who did what to you or didn't show up for you, you are responsible for the life that you are living.
Let me fix my face, because that's some heavy, enlightened energy. Like,
She just said you can take an introspective pilgrimage in yourself. That's what she said. I don't know if y'all heard her. I did.
So one quick question for one of our viewers on the live right now wants to know, how can others become affiliates?
Oh, okay. For the water. So I'm gonna have all of that information coming very soon. I recently became the live alkaline water distributor. I'm gonna talk about that real quick. The reason I chose distribution at the time, it was just more cost effective for myself and my family. And I have quite a few family members that do suffer from different ailments. And so I just needed the water in my house. I wasn't really planning on selling. And so now it's turned into another business. So I'm going to have all that information coming for you guys very soon. Definitely stay tuned, and I'll definitely have that info. But if you do want to hit me up and you are interested in the water whatsoever, whether it be distribution, you just want to know how to get it, whatever, you could definitely DM me.
And we'll go ahead and make sure we get all her information in the description when we post the video. But I think it's time for y'all good people on the live to get up out of here, and we gonna finish doing what we doing, and y'all gonna see it when we drop it. Boop.
Appreciate all love and light. In a minute, we out of here.
So, all right, I guess we just gonna keep running with it. So, how did you decide that the book was then gonna become a course? How did that go?
So I do have to. So this is where we're about to get real and dig deep. With like
well,
anything
that's
else,
what we're here for.
Yeah. Like anything else with entrepreneurship. The course originally was not my idea. It was presented to me by somebody close to me that, you know, they felt that it would be just a great segue.
Pivot. You got to know how to pivot.
Right. And at the time, I just had so much on my plate, and I was still trying to do it because these people were very insistent. And I, you know, went ahead and I burned myself out. I stretched myself too thin. And one of the things that gave way, excuse me, was the course. And so I'm in a space now where I'm not saying that Wake Up Call will never be a course, but as of right now, it's not active.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of just led me, or if you got something to say, Wolf.
No, I'm
You
still,
good?
I'm you
All
out,
right.
Bobby.
So you said they kind of pushed you in a direction you didn't really want to go at that time. Um, how did that go? And if you could turn back the hands of time a little bit, what do you think you would have done differently?
I think I would have honestly, I would have meditated on it more. Um, I think that I would have spent a little bit more time really diving into what it is that I wanted to do beyond Wake Up Call, the book, or after Hey, the author. And so, in a sense, yeah, I would really just dive deeper into what I wanted to do. It was almost like a fight or flight type mode because it was like, the book is dropped. And then I'm focusing on book sales and advertising and just getting the information out there. And then it was like, well, you got to keep the momentum going. You need this, that, and the third. And they're not wrong
Right.
because if you're going to roll out something like that, you should roll it out really strong. But at the same time, I wasn't I wasn't feeling the course. And then you guys know that I had that hiatus situation
Hmm.
because I had a lot of personal stuff going on and it just really was not the right time. And so for a minute I was feeling really guilty because I felt as though I had missed the mark or I hadn't done what should have been done or I missed out on something because I was just so caught up in everything else that I had going on. And then I had my own next realization. Ironically, I guess we're about to segue, but it rolls just the same because everything you're asking me, I've thought about. And I was really hard on myself for a while. And then I switched my focus over to the live alkaline water business because that was also going on at the time. And so it was just a lot happening. And I felt as though where my focus needed to be, it wasn't. And if I kept juggling everything that I was juggling, nothing was going to get done. So I chose to take time for myself. And then I turned my focus onto the water business to give that some love and some nurturing and to help bring that to life. And I decided that I would revisit Wake Up Call when I felt the need to, if I felt the need to bring it back to life in some shape or form.
That's dope.
Queen, let me ask you real quick. When you were speaking on spirit writing this material, how does one know and what does it feel like when you tap into that?
Mm.
I'm gonna just
Oh,
sit back for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and sit back for this one. Go ahead, man.
I said, that's a great. No, that was a beautiful question. At the time, I feel a lot more connected to myself than I did right before and during the time that I was actually writing this book. I can honestly say that at the time, I don't believe I was connected enough to know or understand that, ooh, this is Goddess Anahata writing this, like this Ashe, this is that work. It was just more so for me. I was sitting in front of the screen. I've written one other book in my life when I was 12. So this is like it's a different vibe now. It's like a real piece of work. Not to discredit my 12-year-old self, because that was a great book too. But it was just a different vibe and for a different tribe. So when I was sitting in front of the computer and I felt impressed to write the book because, like I said before, I have been told on multiple occasions and from years before, hey, you should write a book. My mother is an author. She has I think she has about 50 books at this point out. And that's my mom's thing. That was always my mom, that
Right.
was always mom. And so, oh, your mother's an author. Oh, like you have a story, you're articulate, you're this, you're that, you should share. for years. And I just always felt for years, I was like, I mean, my life is pretty interesting, but I don't really know what I'm going to share, what I'm going to write about, what I really have to say, how I'm going to say it. And so all of those things played a part when I was sitting in front of my computer. It was like all the different versions of me were like battling to try to figure out how this was really going to go down. And when I would sit and I would just kind of clear my mind, when I stopped putting so much stress and strain on myself, I just sat in front of the computer and I waited for whatever came to me. I let it flow. And that's exactly how that happened. I literally can't explain it any further than that, which is why for me, when we got to the editing process of the book, when I went from the top to the bottom.
Is that me, bro?
What? My bad. What happened? Yeah, I think Wolf froze up on us. Sorry for that. Go ahead, keep going. He'll be back.
Okay, no, it's fine. When I got to the, the top versus the bottom of the book during my editing process, which my mom edited my book, I realized how I had literally everything had been tied in full circle. When I tell you I did not plan that, I wrote this book out. We got to the editing phase and I said, Lord Jesus, I hope this stuff makes sense. I hope it flows, because I felt like I had written it chopped up. Sometimes I would go back just enough to get, an idea of where I'd left off to move forward. But I had never sat down from top to bottom and read it out until we got to when I was done and we got through the editing process. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that those things had tied in. It was surreal to me. And I wrote it. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here like, what? Did I do that? Oh, okay. Wow. I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, that's super dope. You muted, bro.
Yeah, she got stuff going on in the background. I'm just making sure it's peace and quiet, man. But yeah, I'm listening. I'm just in my head. I'm talking. I know I'm on mute, but I'm like, yeah.
I got you. Yeah, because I think we all come to a point in our life when we kind of feel like that, and we're kind of conflicted internally, and it's kind of like, well, what am I going to do now? But I knew that working thing, it was never going to be for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I was going to do, but I was like, bro, you're miserable every day. Every day. You're miserable every day. Figure something out, bro. Because once you give it up and say, hey, oh, you're going to figure it out real quick. Because the type of person I am, I'm not just going to roll over. I'm not going to sit down and just be broke. It's not me.
Oh,
I'm not the type, so,
not.
We
don't have time for that. We don't do that over here.
Not at all.
We're way too talented, way too intelligent. We have way too much to offer. And this is why I also encourage people to tell their story, because the thing about it is everyone has one. Everyone has a story. I'm not saying that everybody needs to write a book, although that is a better way. I won't say it's better. It's a good way to go. And it is not as difficult as people assume it is. Or I feel like a lot of people get intimidated by the idea, and it's really not. It's your story. Nobody could tell you how to write it. Nobody could tell you what to say, because it's your story. Nobody else has that story but you. And I remember coming across someone a couple months ago who told me that she had just been scrolling through Instagram and she just happened to see a picture of my book cover. And she said, oh, Spirit said, this is the book you've been waiting for. This is the book that you need to get, you need to read so that you can unlock and get to the next level of what you're supposed to do.
I bet the title didn't hurt.
Wake up call, right? And so as she's talking to me and I asked her, I was like, what is it that you want to do? What have you been holding off on? And she explained what she was into and what she had a passion for. And it brought tears to my eyes because in that moment, I said to myself, and the thing is, I wrote it in the book. So I wasn't even surprised, but just kind of hearing it back in real time brought tears to my eyes when I thought to myself, I said, wow, imagine if I was in my head so much so that I never finished this book. Or imagine if I was in my head so much so that I did not feel like anyone would find it valuable. So I never put it out there. I never took that risk of, people know me or don't know me or whatever, who's really going to read this. If I let all of those negative thoughts get in my head and I never put it out in this moment with this woman, with this other goddess that I'm talking to, she would have missed out on the very piece of literature that the universe was waiting on me to put out so that they could use it to push her through her purpose. So when I tell people, how dare you withhold your story because of your own ego or because of your own insecurities or because of your own emotions? Oh, I don't know. Nobody's going to read it. Nobody's going to buy my product. Nobody's going to pay attention to my business. Nobody's really going to show up for me. Get out of your own way, because who are you to block somebody else's blessing?
That's so dope that you just said that, for so many different reasons. Number one, I'm just gonna go in chronological order, I guess. Me and him had never really interacted before. I think it was the night of your birthday, I believe. And then we were just in there bullshitting around, man. And after that, we spoke. And it was like, yeah, that was kind of dope. We got a vibe. Let's do a podcast. And we kind of kicked it around for maybe 4 weeks, and I'm like, yo, bro, we just got to do it. Now I was kind of in my head like, I don't know how to make a fucking podcast. The fuck, we ain't got no team, we ain't got no money and microphones and cameras. Nah, fuck it, we're just gonna do it. And we were actually talking before you got here, before he went live, about the difference between us, and we feel like what a lot of people are doing is we don't really care. You know what I'm saying? It's our story. You gonna listen to it or don't? You gonna like it or don't? But you can have it though. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, somebody's gonna learn from it. Somebody's gonna identify with it, and I got it out. It's
Yep.
cathartic for me.
Yes.
So that's my 2 cents. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm so proud of y'all, honestly.
Gratitude, magic gratitude.
For
And
real.
anybody that's listening, I'm going to tell you right now, pause, rewind back to what she just dropped, and then watch this whole shit again. But just for right now, pause, rewind what she just said about your responsibility to the rest of creation and how selfless you need to become so that things can be in proper balance. Don't let that shit go over your head. Pause, go back, rewind. We appreciate the view status anyway, so pause, go
Definitely
back,
that.
rewind. But got this quick question, cause clearly you in tune with self to a level that is inspirational. When did you come into knowledge of self?
Oh,
I like, and hold on, pause. Before you answer that, for anybody that missed when I asked her how does it make her feel and what does that feel like, and she hit that maneuver right there, that was the answer in case y'all missed it. But go ahead.
I am still getting in tune with myself. I want to start there. This is not a 1, 2, 3 journey. I always tell people that I wrote a book that helps people that still helps me. I still have to look at what I wrote and be like, oh, ooh, girl. Goddess Anahata be looking at Miranda like, ma'am, check yourself. Go back to what we put on paper and get it together. I am definitely still getting in tune with myself. When I started Wake Up Call, which was mid-July 2020. And I told you I had fled the state of New York. Mind you, I got out of the state the day before they shut down the airports. I like made it to, I was down south, I was in Alabama. And I remember my mom was like, oh, you made it out just in time. Everything's closed.
It was written
like,
already.
Yes. I was like, God, the universe, whoever you serve, everybody knew it was time to go. I had to go. So it was honestly during that time that I feel as though I had my most growth. So from about April to when I started writing the book, from that point going through here was has been the most drastic that I have had, like spiritual awakenings, personal realizations, and they're still happening. I feel as though I blinked and I don't even know how many, it's about to be a year now, actually, since I would have left and made that transition last year to go down south. So it's almost a year. At the end of next month, we'll make it a year. So about 11 months now. I feel as though I blinked because when you are ready to tap into your purpose, when you are ready to receive what the universe has for you, what God has for you, whatever you believe, that is when things are going to go on the fast track. Because when I say I blinked, and sometimes it still feels so surreal to me that in 6 to 7 months, I went from unemployment to not one, but 2 streams of income, and just endeavoring now on a third, plus diving deeper into another business. I just, all I can say is I'm super grateful. When it is time, when it is your time, you're not always going to be certain. You're not always going to be sure. But when you are in alignment and you learn to stop ignoring that intuition, you learn to stop ignoring that voice, you learn to stop ignoring that nudge that the universe is giving you, that's when you are going, it's like a roller coaster. You just take off. And you really got to be ready to be locked in for the ride and understand that they're going to be highs, they're going to be lows, they're going to be wins. I don't call them losses, I call them lessons. You really do have to change your perspective with that, because if you call something a loss, that means something was taken from you. That means like something has control over you, your emotions, what you think, what you feel, how you move. I don't call them losses, I call them lessons. Because at the bottom of the day, not at the end of the day, but at the bottom of the day, all we have is our wins and our lessons. It's never a loss. That's why they call it a blessing in disguise, because you may not know it now, but you'll figure it out later that was for your benefit. And even if you're the one who chose to go down that windy path, knowing that you shouldn't have done that, because we be knowing sometimes we know, it's like, girl, you shouldn't have done that, or bruh, for what? You took that left turn and you were supposed to go right. Come on. But even when you do take that left turn, sometimes that left turn is exactly what you need to put you back on track and keep you there. So never look at things as a loss. Look at them as a lesson. I kind of feel like maybe I went off track with his question, but
Nope.
y'all could bring me back if I did. Okay.
Definitely not.
You just went left. Like you said, you went left. But maybe that's where you're supposed to be. Right. I'll be listening. I'll be knowing.
Hey, you see? Ooh, there it is.
You covered ground. You cover way more ground than we put grass on. You know what I'm saying? So
that's all. That's all.
Build
We
it up.
getting where we going. That's
Absolutely.
it. No, I just want to say, since I initially met you, I can see the growth and the transformation, and it's super dope to watch. and watch everything come to fruition for you, man. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. So true, because you've literally been there since I popped in day one. We were talking about this the other day.
Absolutely.
And you saw me before this was physical.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about it. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, and before I was this, I was just the dude in the back.
Right.
Chilling.
And I just told you the other day, I was just telling Quan the other day, Wolf, I was like, yo, when we established the fact, I remember when he popped in and he actually started talking. This was months later, mind you. And he was like, yeah, Goddess Anahata. I was like, hey.
Who is that? That's what it really was. Who is that?
And
I feel it.
we were finally chopping it up the other night. He was like, nah, I was in there the night you were chopping it up with everybody. You came in hot, like nobody knew who you were, but everybody knew who you were when the conversation was over. And I was like, oh my goodness, you have literally been there since day one. And just like you've seen me go from where I was to where I am now, I've watched you go from the quiet person in the back and all those things, not saying much, just scoping out and observing, to where you are now. And the two kings that I have the pleasure and honor of sitting down with tonight, just doing their thing. I'm elated. I'm not even just excited. I'm elated. Okay. I'm so proud of you guys.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
We appreciate it.
Of course.
What else you got, Wolf?
Well, so we talked about the book.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the water.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What insight can you give us on pushing the negativity away and grounding self in positivity? Because we understand that this is absolute for us to succeed. We have to have that balance with positivity. How do you get grounded in that with all of the bullshit that's going on, with all of the obstacles that's in the way? What is your foundation to keep you where you at, balanced?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you asked me that, King. So story time, because I have learned, I've come a long way. I have learned to share the beautiful and the not so beautiful and the expected and the unexpected of what, people assume. It's like, oh, she wrote the book, she got the 5 gems, she in tune and shit. It's like, oh, little do you know. So I want to say, what are we at the end of February? We're about to enter March. So earlier January, I mentioned earlier that I took a sabbatical hiatus from our little family group chats. And a lot of people didn't see me for a while because I had a lot of personal stuff going on. And January came around, and I remember the day. I don't remember the date specifically, but I remember the day. I was sitting in bed, and my water orders were coming in, book orders were coming in, and everything was ashe, gratitude, as we say. Super grateful for all of that. But I still felt really off. Like, I was super grateful for what was happening, number one, because I never saw it coming. And number two, once it started happening, I just asked for guidance, and I was grateful for all the support and the love and just the growth that was going on. But it still felt like something was missing for me. And it was in that moment in my bed, while work is blowing up and going so well right now, it was in that moment that I realized that everything about my personal journey into self, into my purpose and things of that nature, it felt as though it had happened backwards for me, right? So let me explain. So I wrote about tapping in to your highest self and finding your purpose. I also threw a gem in there about, you know, after you activate your highest self and you tap into your purpose, how you can use your story to change the world and set yourself up on, you know, financial freedom and things of that nature. But I had dived so deeply into the purpose and all the things and work and financial freedom and networking and connecting and making sure you're spiritually connected, that I hadn't really dove deeper into my mental stability, my mental state, right? Because we're almost a year in. So not even a whole year ago yet, when I left New York, mentally and emotionally, I was in shambles. Like I had just gotten out of a relationship. I walked away from that. The way I say it, my family blew up, and it was very dramatic. It was very toxic. It was not good at all what was going on. And it was just a million other things. And then I went down south, and for 4 weeks, I got to connect with old friends. I got to forget about the craziness of my hometown and what I had left in New York. I got to tap in to positive energy of people that genuinely loved me and understood me. And then 4 weeks started to come to an end, and that panic came back. And then I realized that, oh, I didn't do anything but change my zip code. So I got to dig a little deeper. So I took time and I did that. But I'm 27 years old now. And it took me 27 years to get to the space I was in when I realized, oh, you have to dig a little deeper. So it's not going to take 11 months to undo where I'm trying to come back from. With that being said, I realized that I had been so caught up in my spiritual awakening. And anybody who's dealt with it, going through it, which I'm sure most of us in the world today, is happening a lot more often than not now. For me, my spiritual awakening kind of felt like I woke up and realized everything was a lie. It's like you woke up out the matrix system. This is how I explain it. I felt as though I had woken up in a burning building, and I could see my family, my friends, everybody around me. They couldn't see the flames. So I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm yanking and trying to save and trying to drag and trying to wake everybody else up. And nobody's paying me any mind. Can't find an exit, can't figure out how to get out, can't figure out what's here, what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right. So now I'm trying to save everybody. So that is how my spiritual awakening happened for me. So I immediately went into, oh my God, yes, I did take time and connected with self, and I was like aware and realized a lot of things. But there's a difference between realizing something and connecting all the dots in harmony. So I was aware of it. I was self-aware. I tapped in, I understood what was happening. I had a better understanding of why I felt the way I felt, why certain things triggered me. I was slower to anger. I was slower to fear. I was slower to the anxiety and the depression that, you know, that I dealt with. I was able to stop and really take stock of what was going on internally. But I still had more to go beyond that, and I didn't realize that at first. It's been taking time. So what ended up happening was I wrote the book. I had this spiritual awakening. I went into salvation mode for family and friends because I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much to learn. We're so behind. We got to do this. We got to do that. I'm the one in my family that has to break the generational curses. I'm going to bring in generational wealth. I'm going to make sure that my siblings are good. I'm going to show my parents that the way that they were used to living is not rule and the golden law, all those things. And totally forgot. It's like, hey girl, I see what you're doing, but don't think that just because you're self-aware, you're healed. And that's the mistake I made. Oh, I'm self-aware. I wrote the book, I did the things, and then boom, business is booming. But I still feel disconnected. I still feel out of sorts because I got to go deeper within myself. So yeah, I talk a good game and I do understand and understand and overstand other people. But being able to do that for someone else versus being able to do it for yourself is a completely different ballgame.
And I feel like also when you start to understand more and you see the people that you care about and that you love, and you notice that they don't quite see things the way that you see it, and you know you have additional information, because that's how I feel about smart people. Once they get new information, they can kind of change their viewpoints and what they might necessarily think. So, you know, you come to them logically and say, here, I'm going to present you with this, and you think it's going to be a cakewalk. Okay, they're going to see what I said and they're going to just follow along. It doesn't work like that, because the work that you had to do for you, they still have to do it for them, even if you show them the path and give them the information.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's super difficult. At least it was for me.
Oh no, it absolutely is difficult. Self-work. I say life won't work until you self-work. So again, I said this earlier, but you know, when I tell people I wrote a book that will help heal you, that still helps heal me, that's like literally my slogan. I didn't write a book for you. See, this is what happens. Had a moment. I wrote that book, and yes, helping other people is a plus. It's a bonus. It's a gratitude, ashe. But I wrote a book that helps heal other people, but it is what's going to heal me. So it's like, hey, girl, friends, you got the blueprint. You put it on paper for everyone else. Now go get it, go digest it, and continue to live it. So that's why I always say I'm never in a position where I don't have all the answers. I'll be the first one to tell you. I could give you my insight. I could give you my perspective. I could give you advice. I can give you sound advice. That's a fact, obviously. But I'm also the one to be like, hey, I'm right here with you. Don't think I'm over there on the other side. I'm here, standing next to you, holding your hand with this work that we're doing together. Because best believe we're doing it together.
I definitely dig where you're coming from. Wolf, go ahead and tap in with us right fast.
All that is beautiful information, and I hope that helped our listeners and viewers find a place where, you know, they can use that information and find a sense of success within, you know, their accomplishments with building themselves. That sounds like a lot to say a little, but anyway. So we got into all of that, you know, the building of the self and positivity and the gems and all that. On the flip side of that, if there ever was a time where you was just all the way out of pocket, out of control, wild as hell, because most people, once they reach this level that we're hearing of understanding, and we all still going, we know and understand that, that generally comes from being at a whole nother place, opposite, you know what I'm saying, polarity. What was that person like, if you don't mind disclosing?
Oh, that's Randy. Y'all know Randy. Well, I know Quan.
I know Randy. I
All
definitely
right, I
know.
would like that, just a disclaimer, because I know people are like, "What?"
Yeah, who the
So
fuck
we
is
got
Randy?
Goddess. We got the Goddess in the building right now, but we about to we about to cut it up real quick. So I don't really care what anybody has to say about this, because I strongly and certainly believe that we all have separate like personalities. Okay, I'm not saying nobody's schizophrenic or bipolar, even though that's a thing, but like, yeah, I've come to name us like, oh, I know who you are. Oh, girl, I know who you are. So Randy is still very much in the building. Don't get it twisted.
We know.
Don't get it twisted. I mean, listen, she's like the side of me that, like, you know, is she's the party girl. She loves to have fun. She'll cut it up. She could be the life of the party or your worst fucking nightmare, okay? And you know, you get a few drinks in, you might meet her. Yeah. And let's just hope whatever note she got lit on is a good one.
How did she
Otherwise, you might catch the other side. So
look at bro eyes though.
Got the name. How she get the name Randy?
How did she get the name Randy? Lord. So one of my best friends, she used to call me that. And she used to call me that. And like one night, I remember, you know, like we was getting lit, whatever, we were having a good time. And I remember another friend of mine, he got out of pocket, and like Randy got everybody all the way together. And so it was just like, and somebody, she made the joke, she was just like, oh, there go Randy. And it just kind of stuck. I was like, oop, there goes that name. So it's just like, hey, if you have the pleasure of meeting Randy, it's not always a bad thing, you know. She's dope.
Right.
Randy ain't never did shit to me.
Right. That's what I'm
I'm
saying. And she doesn't, she doesn't get out of pocket with people unless they like, I didn't send for you, so don't come for me.
Right.
So, but yeah, that, and I'm not gonna lie, that person is very much still in effect. I have a lot of shadow work to do, which I realized the other day. And for those who maybe are a little bit unfamiliar with shadow work, it really is just, it's the other side of you. It's the flip side. It's like there's no light without darkness. So it's your dark side. It's the insecurities, the anger, the lust, the desire, the emotions that are less desirable, all of those things that make up that other side of you. It's kind of like the bully that comes out and protects you, or the demon that shows up if somebody really takes you there. Yeah. So I realized the other day that I had a lot of shadow work to do. And so I'm definitely going to be tapping in and diving in deeply into that. And I want to be very clear, when it comes to shadow work, the goal is to never erase your shadow side. The goal is to come to an understanding so that the two of you can work together. It's the yin and the yang. It's like, if this is going to be the bully, make the bully work for you, not against you. That's what self-sabotaging is. Your light side pops up and you got something good going, and then you're triggered. You don't know you're triggered, and your shadow self pop out like, what up? You know what I mean? And so, you know, the goal is definitely to like get the yin and the yang to work in harmony, so that don't get rid of it. Don't be afraid of your dark side. Don't run from it. Don't shut it. Stop trying to shove it down. Stop trying to act like it doesn't exist, because I did that. It don't work well, because it rears its ugly head and you won't even know it sometimes.
In some real inconvenient times.
Yeah. It'll fuck you up. Fuck
So
you up good too.
Y'all don't know Bang Bang. Y'all know TheWolf. Y'all don't know Bang Bang. Bang Bang, I try to keep him way over there. You know what I'm saying? But he pulls up. But I definitely can relate, definitely.
And see, y'all know TheBear. They used to call me Grizz at home back in the day. That's a whole different dude, man. I mean, you got Laquan and then you got Q.
Think my screen
You had
froze
Grizz.
or my signal is bad.
No, you
I don't know.
No, I think you froze, but
you froze, but we can still hear you, King.
oh, now you back. You back in the building.
There you go. Yeah.
Like never left. That shirt dope as hell. I can't stop staring at it. How the A just goes all the way around the African
Oh
flag.
yes.
What's little bro info?
Oh, I got you just now. Where's my other phone? Because I want to make sure I spell it right.
Absolutely. And when we put it in the description, we want to make sure it's right and exact for the people so they know where to get it from.
Absolutely. Pressure.
Shout out to young entrepreneurs out there, young Black entrepreneurs especially.
Oh, definitely. So his brand name is Prestige. This is from his this is Kings and Queens line. Melanation is in full effect in the building.
Super
This
dope.
this is some of his latest drops. So on IG it's prestigious. It's PRESTIG.IOS. And you know, he has all of his online stores
Go
up
ahead
there.
and write that down now so I ain't got to scroll through the whole thing. So go put it in the description. See, I'm learning. I told you, we don't really know how to do this, but we gonna do it though.
You do this, bro.
Right.
Nah, we do this. What you mean?
Well,
we do this.
You right, but I just had to throw that out there.
Appreciate you, buddy.
I'll give you guys the other one because you know, IG, you can only do one website per page. So his other one is his regular page. It's CHRIS Chris X Manie, MANIE. And he has the customized girl link there too. So it mostly has the same stuff on both, but I do know certain sites have a little bit more or less whatever than the other one. So those are his two IG names, and all the information is in the bio and stuff.
Now wait a minute, because now it's coming back to me, and I believe I had a conversation with the young king.
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, y'all make sure y'all go check it out. We talking about some,
definitely tap in with him.
We talking about some heat.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna like what you see.
Absolutely, we did.
Oh, I'm excited.
Super dope. So where can the people reach you?
At Goddess.Anahata. So GODDESS.ANAHATA. Goddess Anahata on IG. And I have like all my information. If you want the book, you can get it there. I have my Linktree link. You can DM me if you want a personalized signed copy, or if you prefer ebooks, you know, the link is in my bio. And if you are looking for the water, I don't have my site up yet. I do everything. I'm in New York, obviously we mentioned that. So all of my deliveries and everything, you can check me out and get the water. If you are in NYC, if they are in another state, y'all can still definitely DM me and we can work something out. Right now, we're trying to make moves because, like we've said before, everybody knows that the cost of shipping on water costs more than water.
Right, because it's super heavy.
So, exactly. So we're working around that. You know, that's gonna take some time, family. But yeah, I'm super excited. I've got some subscriptions going on right now to make the live alkaline water more affordable for the people, the good people of New York. So definitely check it out.
Definitely tap in. Y'all trying to get some of that good live alkaline water. Now, for those of them that don't know, what's the difference between live alkaline water and regular, like, bottled water or tap water or anything like that?
Oh, definitely. It's literally life in a bottle. So the water comes from North Carolina, Winston-Salem, if I'm not mistaken. There's a melanated family, because they're a Black-owned business. Melanated family that is owned their land. They own the land. And they've owned it for over 400 years now. And on the land sits a natural springs, an aquifer. So the water, so it's an endless supply. And the water is literally filtered through the earth itself. So it has all the minerals. It has 108 minerals. It is 100% natural and chemical free. It is H320 water. Definitely go look that up. I'm not even going to act like I can remember all the specifics of H320 right now. So y'all definitely go look that up. It's just, I know that it's highly structured water. And yeah, it's straight from the ground. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get much more natural than that. And I'll just share a little bit about it, because I did say before, you know, I got into it to help my family, blah, blah, blah. My mother has been sick for over 6 years. And no, doctors could never actually give a straight diagnosis on what her issue was. But it started with her being unable to digest or just like eat. She'd like eat certain foods that she has always eaten. And my mother has always been the most health conscious in our family. My family is has always been very health conscious. You know, she would bring up what she was eating, and it got to a point where she couldn't eat anything. So she lost all of this weight. She developed a heart arrhythmia. All we knew that there was some gastrointestinal issues. She developed this heart issue. She dropped all this weight. She couldn't keep food down. She wasn't actually eating. She wasn't able to get any nutrients or anything in her system. So, you know, over the years, there's been a lot of trial and error and a lot of in and out of the hospital, doctor's visits, tests. It's just ridiculous. And so last year, I think October, is when I first got wind of Live Alkaline Water. And it was after one of our family meetings. We're chopping it up with Maul that night, and he was explaining how like the regular water, it didn't even really matter. Any type of Poland Spring, Deer Park, Aquafina, God knows whatever else is out there, you think of it, you name it. That water was no good because I don't know if there's some type of chemical in there that causes some type of calcification or residue that it leaves like internally. And I remember before he talked about that, my friend and I had broken down at the side of the road like a couple days before. And I had, at the time it wasn't Live Alkaline Water. It was just the regular alkaline water that you can buy at the store versus like Poland Spring. So I went to give the Poland Spring bottle because the car was overheating. I was gonna pour some water into, y'all, I don't know the things about the cars, but like wherever the steam or whatever was coming out from, and he was gonna pour the water in it to help try to cool down the engine. And I went to go give the Poland Spring bottle. He was like, "Nah, give me the alkaline water." I was like, "Okay." Didn't know what the difference was. It's a car. And so he brought me out of the car to show me. So listen, you see, so pour the water in, it's coming out. Now you see all these white flecks coming out, spouting out of the engine. And I'm like, what is that? And he was like, listen, basically, that's like calcification. It's a residue that's left behind on the engine. That's why I couldn't use that specific, that water. Use like this alkaline water right here that we get at the store is no good either because it'll do the same, but it's just a little bit better than that one. And so I was like, he said, because if you keep using this in the engine, it'll mess up the engine permanently. And I said, but we're drinking it. What do you mean? And so he's like, he just looked at me, he was like, exactly. And then Maul, a couple of days later, came on and explained the same thing, but for the human body. And at that point, I had a whole conniption. I said, you know what? It's like 1,000 ways to die in this place. Like, I'm over it. A human being can't even get drinkable water that's not going to kill them in this day and age. So I had actually ended up talking to my distro about it. And so then he brought the opportunity for distro. And the issue was, of course, at the time, the first time we got the water, we had to have it shipped. And that was super expensive. And so after learning about that, I was like, you know what is this distro opportunity? Because it sounds like it'll be a lot cheaper to buy in bulk and get the water that way, wholesale, than to than to have all that stuff shipped. So that's how that happened. And we got the water the first 3 to 4 days. My mom was drinking consistently. She drinks about, I want to say 3 to 4 16-ounce bottles per day of the water. And within the first few days, she used to have this black lining around her lips, discoloration from the toxins that build up in her body. Now, usually what she would do, at least once a month, she tries to do a cleanse if her body can handle it. But 9 times out of 10, what happens is by the time the cleanse can really start to work, it's like the toxins already start to build up. So her lips have never it's never reverted. Within the first 3 to 4 days, I remember she busted into my room and she was like, Miranda, oh my God. I was like, what's going on, Ma? She was like, look at my face. And I was like, I'm looking at your face. She's like, put on your glasses. I was like, oh, when I tell you guys her lips were pinker than mine after 3 to 4 days. It was actually 3 days. It was 3 days because she was so excited. She like washed her face and she busted in my room. She was like, never in years. She said the water did for her in 3 days what a regular total body cleanse and flush couldn't do in a month. So that was her first like aha moment. Then after 7 days, she came back and she was like, oh my God. I was like, what happened? She said, my bloating is gone, because she's had bloating pretty much like every day for years. And so a couple days after that, maybe 10 days after that, she came back. Oh my God. I was like, we got to stop doing the announcements like this. She said her menstrual cramps, which is something that the water does help alleviate between weight loss. It helps ease the menstrual cramps. It boosts your energy and a whole slew of things. You guys go on my page, you'll see all the benefits. She said, yeah, I haven't had a pain-free cycle in forever. And I said, okay. Now, about a month ago, matter of fact, I'm gonna read y'all what she wrote me, because she does my little testimonials for me. And I'm going to read y'all what she sent me.
While you're pulling it up real quick, I believe what it is in regular water and regular bottled water is fluoride that causes the calcification, as well as in the pineal gland and things of that nature. So that's why that stuff really isn't good for you in a lot of toothpaste and stuff like that, I believe. And also with the live alkaline water having those 108 minerals and stuff like that, is pretty close to what sea moss gives you. So it's definitely something you want to tap into. All of that stuff is super good for you and very, very necessary. Shout out to Maul, bro. He be dropping jewels.
Oh, absolutely.
Shout out to Maul.
Okay, so I found it. So this was earlier this month. She texted me early one morning. She said, grateful. I've been using the live alkaline water since October 2020. Here's why I'll keep using it. Morning exhaustion is gone. Gas and bloating, good riddance. Lip discoloration from toxin buildup has disappeared. My lips went from a dark brown, black to pink. I drink 3 to 4 16-ounce bottles daily, and I'm so glad that I've discovered this fountain of life. The other morning, maybe it's it's not TMI, it's health. So along with her issues comes, it was like regulation and stuff. And so she had gone to the bathroom, and basically like her urine was like a blood red, like it was not normal. It was not good at all. And she said she downed a 16-ounce bottle of the live alkaline water. And within about 45 minutes, she went back to the bathroom and her urine color was back to normal, completely changed. Everything was regulated and back to, as you know, business as usual. And so my mother, for me, and I've had my own benefits with the water, but because my, you know, my health status isn't as dramatic as hers, she is literally my walking, breathing daily testimony for why I do what I do. And just like the book, I didn't see that coming. If you had told me 7 months ago, hey, you're going to be a live alkaline distributor, I would have been like, yeah, okay, cool. So super, just grateful.
We could do this all day, man. We could do this all day with the goddess. We think we gave y'all enough, man. We gonna cut it right here on you.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I want to share one more thing because Wolf, did you have a?
Yeah, definitely do. Definitely do. But I want you to get that out because mine is real quick and it's personal. You can hit on it and boom, we out of there.
Oh, okay, perfect. So what I wanted to say, I said this to somebody the other day. We were just having this conversation. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And I said, you know, people think they want to be wealthy, but, you know, really they want to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. They think that wealth is the gold, but it's not. Happiness and healthiness is, because you can't get to wealth if you don't achieve those two. And those two come from mindset and application and all those things. And so I was looking at my personal life and I said, you know what, even since I was younger, I said, if people would use their life as a kind of like a barometer for what their purpose needs to be, nobody would be confused. I became an author because I put my personal story on paper to inspire and to help other people. I became a live alkaline water distributor because of the health status of my family. I got into dancing because it was a way for me to express myself. I became a dance teacher because it was a way for me to not only express myself, but pull other people out of their shell and help them express theirs. I became a singer because I loved it, but then I became a song worship leader, like back in the day, not only because it was something that was needed at the time, but because nobody else stepped up to the plate and I had the capabilities, even if I was uncertain. So when I look at my life and I look at the business ventures that I've gotten into and the things I want to do, I'm not saying that every single specific thing you will ever do in this life is tied directly to your purpose, but it is, because everything is connected. So I feel as though if you look into your life, you look at where there's a need, you look at where there's a passion, you look at where there's pain or trauma, you will find things that need to be done. You'll find your place. And I don't want people to ever think that your place is just in one space, because that's not true. Your place is any and everywhere you can evoke healing for yourself or for someone else. So that's really just what I wanted to touch on. It's just to help people, like, yeah, the book and all the things, but when all else fails, tap into what's going on in your life. I got into fitness by becoming a dance instructor. I didn't like working out by myself and I love to dance. So I did that. I didn't want to be an author, but the book made sense. So I wrote it and then I was brave enough to share it. I didn't want to be a distributor of live alkaline water initially, but my passion for my family and the need that I saw for this thing, and then the fact that I had access to it.
And the business acumen.
Exactly. And so I took all of my pain, I took my passion, I took drive, I took purpose, I took enjoyment, I took all of those things in all the different areas of my life and I flipped it and turned it into a money making, scenario. Not because, oh, money is the goal, but because like, bills are real and people got to eat. So that part. But really dive into the things you love to do, because there's literally, your life is the living bag. So
Hey, y'all ain't gonna have to pause it because we're gonna end in a little bit, so y'all can just rewind the entire shit and then catch back up with what she just said, because that was like profound.
Bars.
Hey, real quick, Goddess.
yes.
Before the bear get to running through the woods, slapping trees over everything.
No, I do. My
Where?
back itching.
Okay, the name is beautiful. Anahata. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it's pronounced two different ways. Some people say Anahata, some people say Anata. But I go with both, whatever your spirit flows out.
As beautiful as this name is, I'm 100% sure it has a historical background. Can you bring us up to speed on the name, please?
Oh, most definitely. So Anahata or Anata is Hindu for heart chakra. And I've always been connected to the heart. When, ever since I was little, I've always been told that, you're the life, you're the soul of the family, you're the heart of the family, you're the life of your line. In college, I was the middle man. I was number 5 on my line. My name, my my name in college was Big Sister Corazon, which is heart in Spanish. So like, and I rule from my heart. Everything I do is really, it really is from the heart. That's where I operate from, my heart chakra. And so one night I was minding my business, reading up about the chakras and chakra healing, and I zoned out. And it wasn't like a dream or a memory. It felt like a flash forward almost. And I zoned out and I saw it was this golden picture frame. And in the frame was me. It was like in real time. It wasn't like a snapshot picture. It was like real time. And within the picture, it was me. I was like adorned in like gold and silk and lace and just head wraps and like all the things that like bring out my sexuality, my sensuality, all those things. And then the name popped across Anahata. And so I came back and I was like, okay, that was weird. All right, cool, whatever. I thought it was dope because, the version of me that I saw, I was like, ooh, I saw my future self just now. That's exactly how I feel I look or exude, the energy I exude. And then I happened to turn the page on the book and I came across heart chakra. And on that page, they were going into what the heart chakra is, what, organs and everything is associated with. And then at the top, it said Hindu name for heart chakra, Anahata. And I dropped my book. I was like, stop it. Stop playing. And I immediately went to IG and I changed my name. My name on Instagram used to be Ms. Fab for years. And seriously. And I went and I changed my name. And then it got a little deeper than that because I kind of sat there and I was like, that's wild that just happened. Like I just had a whole flash forward. I saw like my highest future self, which is not too far off from who I am now. And then it was almost like not a voice, but like a moment within myself where it was like, well, I don't know why you're surprised. You have always resonated with the heart. You move off of your heart chakra. You're always in balance and duality with things. You've always had, I've always lived my life in duality. And, when beforehand, like Randy and the old version of me, that duality used to be detrimental because I used to think that I had to be one or the other, or I'd step into one world and then I'd step into the other. Whereas now I'm neutral in the middle. I'm aware that the yin and the yang exist. but it's up to me to find the balance because both of them are important. Both sides of me exist for a purpose. And outside of just like my inner knowing of finding that balance, I have found myself as like kind of like the balancer of the people around me and kind of just bringing it back. It all comes back to that duality. And the way my life has been set up, it's always been that. So it was only a matter of time till I pieced it together. So at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I just had a flash forward. I'm so in tune spiritually with myself. But then it was like, no, girl, you're just now paying attention because you've always been this. This has always been you. Thank you for activating Goddess Anahata, your highest self.
Boom.
Appreciate
Now,
that.
what's going to happen is we're going to stop the recording, right? But we might continue to chop it up. It might be some more for y'all. Y'all going to have to figure that out. But hey, Wolf, what we doing, Brody?
I got to get in this kitchen, get this family fed. That's all I got. That's a super stepping stone for me and my growth. You know what I'm saying? And I might be your senior by a few years, Goddess, but like the bro said earlier, you know what I'm saying? It's always something we can learn from other individuals. And, you know, I'm a constant student and I really appreciate the time that you spent with us, everything that you expounded on, what you giving to the people, you know what I'm saying? And that you coming from the heart with it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lack of that here today, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of our people. And so hopefully with the viewers and listeners to this information, that's gonna wake them up like how your book telling them to do. So
wake up call. Definitely. Yeah, y'all go get it. It's a short read. It really is. It really is. And you know, yeah, it's so worth it.
This was a
I'm
short
telling you,
podcast. I bet you we changed a lot of lives, though.
oh yeah.
Bet you we did.
Change mine. So, you know, if you can get
Ashe.
yeah, for sure. Sure.
I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you,
Y'all
Goddess.
make sure y'all following, keep up with these kings because they're onto something, okay?
Gratitude.
They're doing it.
Hey, what was this? What was this? What was this? What was this? What was this we just did?
Oh, it's the Hunting Season podcast. The Hunting Season
Y'all already know. And another episode is gone. Pressure. We out of here. We'll see y'all next time.